So they've dragged a social media platform here in Congress. They're weaponizing the use of this committee so that they can do it again. A whole hearing about a 24-hour hiccup in a right-wing political operation. That is why we are here right now. And it's just an abuse of public resources, an abuse of public time. We could be talking about healthcare. We could be talking about bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights. But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story. I mean, this is an embarrassment.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about AOC, Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who once again is having a meltdown in Congress. Now, the last time she had a meltdown, it was over Ilhan Omar getting kicked off of her committee assignments by Kevin McCarthy and the GOP. This time, she's having a meltdown over the hearing that is happening about Twitter and Hunter Biden. Okay, so Twitter censoring the Hunter Biden story and Twitter being engaged in censorship against people on the right. Okay, overt political bias and censorship. Okay, which is very important because we have government actors like Adam Schiff who pushed Twitter to try to censor and ban people that he doesn't like. Okay, Democrats also participated in this. Joe Biden's campaign more specifically, and Twitter capitulated because they were being run by leftist communists who hate Republicans and the GOP, and they also hated Trump. So we know that Twitter was weaponized and used by the government and the powers that be to try to sway the outcome of the 2020 election. Again, pretty important stuff that I think the American people should know about. However, AOC does not believe that. In fact, she believes that this is a waste of time, and this is why she is melting down in Congress over the fact that they're having a hearing in the first place. So I want to talk about it. But the first clip I want to play here is AOC trying to demonstrate how bias against the right wing when it comes to Twitter and their moderation policies doesn't exist at all. And she uses this example of Twitter allegedly changing their hate speech policy about telling immigrants or whatever to go back to where they came from after Trump told progressive Democrats to go back to where they came from and clean up their own countries or whatever, right? She's using this as an example of how there is no bias against the right because Twitter changed their policy in response to Trump tweeting that out. Take a look.
So your generosity. I just want to start off right here at the top here. This isn't even my line of questioning, but I'd like to submit to the record a Washington Post article now warning about Hunter Biden laptop disinformation, the guy who leaked it. Here's the deal. Before I even get into my questions, I think that the story here with the Washington Post reporting is that what they're saying right here, when the New York Post first reported in October 2020 that it had obtained contents of a laptop computer allegedly owned by Joe Biden's son Hunter, there was an immediate roadblock faced by other news outlets that hoped to corroborate reporting, as many did. The newspaper wasn't sharing what it obtained. New York Post had this alleged information and was trying to publish it without any corroboration, without any backup information. They were trying to publish it to Twitter. Twitter did not let them, and now they were upset. I believe that political operatives who sought to inject explosive disinformation with the Washington Post couldn't get away with it. And now they're livid. And they want the ability to do that again. They want the ability to inject this again. So they've dragged a social media platform here in Congress. They're weaponizing the use of this committee so that they can do it again. A whole hearing about a 24-hour hiccup in a right-wing political operation. That is why we are here right now. And it's just an abuse of public resources, an abuse of public time. We could be talking about healthcare. We could be talking about bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights. But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story. I mean, this is an embarrassment. But I'll go into it. Ms. Navaroli, let's talk about something real. I'd like to show you a tweet posted by former President Trump about my colleagues and I on July 14, 2019. It says in part, quote, "Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it's done." These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy as quickly to work out free travel arrangements. A day or two after that, Donald Trump publicly incited, violence at a rally, targeting 4 congresswomen, including myself, saying, "Go back to where you came from." Ms. Navarrete, as I understand it, you were the most senior member of Twitter's content moderation team, or a senior member of Twitter's content moderation team when this was posted. As part of your responsibilities, did you review this tweet?
Yes, it was my team's responsibility to review these tweets.
And what did you conclude?
My team made the recommendation that for the first time we find Donald Trump in violation of Twitter's policies and use the public interest interstitial.
For the first time?
Yes.
And at the time, Twitter's policy included a specific example when it came to banned abuse against immigrants, as they specifically included the phrase, "go back to your country," or go back to where you came from, correct?
Yes, that was specifically included in the content moderation guidance as an example.
You brought this up to the Vice President of Trust and Safety, Del Harvey, correct?
I did, yes.
And she overrode your assessment, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And something interesting happened after she overrode your assessment. A day or two later, Twitter seemed to have changed their policies, didn't they?
Yes, that trope, "go back to where you came from," was removed from the content moderation guidance as an example.
So Twitter changed their own policy after the president violated it in order to potentially accommodate his tweet?
Yes.
Thank you. So much for bias against right wing on Twitter. Additionally,
Yeah, so this is so ridiculous on so many levels from AOC. Okay, first and foremost, she's complaining. She's melting down in Congress over the fact that we are investigating the allegations that the New York Post was blocked from being able to publish a story on a social media platform, a story that could have potentially swayed the outcome of the election because Twitter is politically biased, right? Also, you had the government at the same time pressuring Twitter to censor speech based off political bias. AOC thinks that that's a waste of time to talk about. It's a waste of time to talk about Hunter Biden's half-true laptop story, right? Again, she seems to think that the New York Post is somehow disinformation or misinformation when they publish a story that has been proven to be 100% true, right? They publish a story that is true. And what really kills me about AOC and her little rant here is the fact that where was all this when the Democrats were wasting time in Congress with the January 6th commission? What was all this? Where was all this when Democrats were wasting time trying to impeach Trump? Where all this when Democrats are wasting time in Congress investigating Russia? You see, it's funny how this happens with these people, right? They're totally fine with Democrats wasting time in Congress when Democrats have power. Right, they're totally fine with it when they're investigating Republicans, doing all these, again, witch hunts and stuff like that against Republicans. Totally fine. She ain't got nothing to say. She's not talking about how they should be spending time, on health care or, whatever other issues she talks about all the time. She doesn't care. All that stuff goes out the window. But now when it's Republicans' turn to give Democrats a taste of their own medicine in regards to investigating things that are actually legitimate, oh, AOC got a big problem with that. Oh, this is a waste of time. Well, where was all that when the Democrats were having a hearing on white supremacy? So a hearing on white supremacy is not a waste of time, but a hearing on the political bias and overt censorship happening at Twitter at the behest of the government, including government officials like Adam Schiff, the Democrat Party, and the FBI. Oh, that's not legitimate. That's a waste of time. But again, white supremacy is not. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then she wants to talk about this tweet that Trump put out where he basically told some of the progressive members of the Democrat caucus to go back to, their own countries and fix it since, you guys got all the solutions. This is not an example of Twitter not having a right-wing bias. This is an example of Twitter realizing, and this is a rare moment where they realize this, that their policy was silly in the first place. It was silly to have a policy in which you say that telling somebody to go back to their country is hate speech. That's not hate speech. It's not hate speech telling somebody, hey, if you think that you got all the solutions or whatever, right, go back to your own country and fix your own country, right? Especially considering how these Democrats, right, these progressives complain about America so much, how bad America is. Okay, well, if you feel that way, all right, cool. Well, go back to your country where, you know, everything was so great and you know, fix that, right? Do that. That's not hate speech. Trump putting that out there just made Twitter realize how silly it was for them to have that policy in the first place, right? Policy shouldn't have been on books in the first place. So this is not the end of AOC's meltdown. She also proceeds to melt down over Libs of TikTok. Take a look.
Additionally, Ms. Navaroli, are you familiar with the account Libs of TikTok?
I have heard of it from the news, yes.
Mr. Roth, are you familiar with this account?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you aware that from August 11th to August 16th, that account posted false information about Boston Children's Hospital, claiming that they were providing hysterectomies to children?
Yes, I am aware of that and other claims from the account.
And are you aware that this lie was then circulated by other prominent far-right influencers?
Yes.
And are you aware that all these claims, which I have reiterated were false, culminated in a real-life harassment and ultimately a bomb threat to the Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes, I am aware.
And this account is still on that platform today, isn't it?
Regrettably, yes, it is.
Despite inspiring a bomb threat due to the right-wing incitement of violence against trans Americans in this country, because they cannot let go of this obsession with fixating violence and inciting violence against trans and LGBT people, in addition to immigrants, in addition to women of color. This is a party that cannot pick on anyone their own size.
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. This woman is just, wow, incredible. Libs of TikTok. All they do, or all they did, was repost just the insanities of the left, right? They just post facts. Okay, that hospital at the time confirmed on a phone call that they performed those types of procedures on minors. Also, before they erased it from the website also suggested that they may perform those types of procedures. Now, they came out after the fact and denied it and said, oh, well, we don't do that, blah, 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 blah. Basically took down the page on the website and claimed that, you know, again, the phone call, even though it was real, that was incorrect information, right? Information that I believe during the phone call was actually confirmed by like 2 individuals at the hospital. Now, I don't know if those individuals have been fired, okay? Because if they gave out false information like that, and considering what the result was, they should have been fired. But I don't believe they were, because they probably gave out correct information. It's just that the mainstream liberal media, instead of doing actual journalism, what they do is, because they're politically biased, because they're propagandists, they just pretend that, well, Libs of TikTok put out, you know, false information because the hospital said that what Libs of TikTok said was false, even though Libs of TikTok has direct evidence that what they said and what they claimed, at least at the time, that's what the hospital was doing, okay? Again, what really pisses me off about AOC is that she has all this outrage over perceived threats of right-wing violence, okay? Bomb threats against hospitals, which are wrong, right? They're wrong, okay? I can come out and say, yeah, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that, right? Obviously, that's a terrible thing. But where's all this smoke and energy for the Roe v. Wade rioters who are currently, right, in some instances, still out here bombing, right, or firebombing pregnancy centers, right? Centers for women who are pregnant, who are trying to have healthy pregnancy. What about that? What about the political violence that have been done against pro-life centers? But again, this is the same person that after Brett Kavanaugh faced an assassination attempt, she decided to literally run to Congress to vote against legislation to provide the Supreme Court justices with more protection and security. But yet she wants to lecture me about political violence. What? When AOC endorses political violence, she gives a full-throated endorsement to political violence when it's coming from her side of the aisle. Whether that's BLM, whether that's the Roe v. Wade stuff, whether that's Antifa, she's totally fine with political violence. And she's sitting here having meltdowns in Congress over some alleged bomb threats, which, again, should be condemned. But, again, where's all that smoke and energy for the bomb threats against pro-life centers? Where's all that smoke and energy for Congress wasting time when the Democrats are wasting time on every investigation under the sun into Trump, right, and Republicans? Again, it's amazing how that works. I love it how ever since the Republicans have took over in Congress, the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats, their main criticism has been, well, Republicans are wasting our time with all these investigations and doing all this other stuff that we don't think is good for the American people. But these people are literally wasted time on pointless investigations that went nowhere into Trump. They have done that literally for the past 6 years. 4 years with Trump in office. The 2 that he hasn't been in office, they've been doing it ever since the guy was elected. And if they were still in power, they would still be wasting time investigating Trump. But they want to lecture us and say, well, Republicans are wasting time with investigations. When all the Democrats did when they was in power was launch pointless investigations. Again, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff, man. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.